This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so as I say, we have a few questions that have been submitted, but does anybody have anything specifically that they would like to ask Alan before we start?
Not just now, no.
No?
Not just now, no, maybe later. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll start with the first question then that was submitted. So this was one, Robbie, that you had asked. So it was holiday entitlement once we're back to normal. You want to expand, Robbie?
Oh, basically, I've had the boys furloughed now for the last 10 weeks. It's looking that we might be coming back a week Monday, but only a might at the moment. We're just following guidelines, basically. So really, I just want to know what sort of holiday entitlement would start with the boys. Surely they wouldn't still be due their 31 days. That's basically what I wanted to know. What can I offer them? Do we take this furlough time off and then recalculate it and give them, what the work suited? So yeah, that's just basically what I want to know is what sort of holiday entitlement they'll be entitled to.
Hi there, Robbie. So I think that's one for me to answer. Now, throughout the time where an employee is on furlough, their holiday continues to accrue at the rate that it would have done if this whole thing had never happened and they'd been at work normally. So that's the first thing to know, that the holiday entitlement remains unchanged. However, holiday, people are realizing that this may cause an issue, so there are things that can be done to mitigate that issue. For example, holiday can be taken while on furlough. So it can be the case that an employee can request to take holiday while they're on furlough, and that might not happen as much as folk would like, maybe, but it can also be the case that holiday is mandated by the employer. So even in normal times when none of this is happening, an employer can mandate a period of holiday for their employees, for their workforce, and many people probably do it when there's a Christmas shutdown. You're basically saying to your workforce, the business will not be providing any work on these days, and so I'm asking that you're mandating that you take the holiday on these dates. Now, this can be done if it's done with the correct notice period. So the notice period would be twice the length of time as the length of holiday you'd like them to take. So if you'd like your employees to take a week as mandated holiday, then you should give 2 weeks notice that should happen. And I would advise in the current situation to give that notice in writing. Obviously, you would be speaking to your workforce and explaining to them why this is being asked of them. But yes, once you've explained the reasons for that, then giving them the notice in writing would be the way to go. As well as that, you can be carrying over holiday for your employees. Again, after a bit of consultation with your workforce, saying to them, there isn't the time or ability for people to be taking all their holidays in the remainder of the year. So having a discussion with them and agreeing that a certain amount of time will be carried over. There is provision now in legislation for holiday to be carried over, which for reasons of the coronavirus epidemic couldn't be taken during this holiday year. That holiday can be moved and taken over the following 2 years. So have a word with them, a bit of consultation, and you can agree, for example, that a certain portion should be shifted and added on to next year when it's going to be more sensible and better for the business for it to be taken. But I suppose that the main crux of the question you'd asked was, should the furlough time that people have had, should the holiday which accrued during that time be removed? But the answer is no, they would still be entitled to the full holiday entitlement that they would have accrued through that whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. My argument there is that for the last 10, or it'll end up now probably near 12 weeks, that there's been no money made. These lads haven't, produced it. We're a small company, so to come back after furlough and then still have to find 30 days or 31 days holiday, it's going to make it tough. I guess not just for me, but for lots of little companies,
Yeah.
It's just, we've made nothing now this last few weeks, so we've basically been living. Luckily, we've been getting the furlough payments, so there's not been a problem with that. But as I say, there still has been no, capital made. There's been no money actually made. So in these last few weeks, so that was my, that's why I was asking whether we could deduct. I mean, they're only going to lose a few days, but it's, it would all help, so.
Yeah, and that's why even during the furlough period, you could mandate a period of holiday for your operatives, and then obviously all holiday which is taken during the period of furlough must be paid at 100% of wages.
My argument there again is, I did mention this, and I was told, but we can't go anywhere. So it's not really a holiday, even though they're sitting at home. They don't class it as a holiday, so because they can't go abroad, they can't, basically go on holiday. So that's fine. I just wanted to know or select, what advice they could give me on that. So if that's what they do, then I'll probably try and get them to put them through to next year. But I mean, we struggle as it is to get all the holidays taken. There's hardly a month goes by that are full squad, because there's always somebody on holiday. So it's gonna pound that next year will be even worse. So.
And of course, it's not Select's decision about the idea. This is just the legislation and the working time directive rules that we're communicating. So.
That's fine. No, not a problem. Yeah, thank you.
Can I maybe add what we've done and got agreement on, because it might help. Is that okay?
Yes, perfect, Stephen. Yeah, on you go.
Yeah. What we've done is exactly the same, Robbie, situation as you. But what we've agreed with the guys is we messaged them all and asked for the holidays that they've still got booked, how many of them still want to take it. Most of them came back and said no, because they were obviously going abroad and flights and things were cancelled. Some said they would still take it. So the ones that still want to take holidays, was not a problem. We're letting you take them. They're still the original holidays. What we have said is that between now and the Christmas break, we'll allow 10 days holiday to be taken, and that 10 days, if they've booked 10 days that already and said they're going to go, that counts within that 10 days. So if you book 10 days, that's all you're going to get between now and the end of the year. Now, what we did was we've said you can take 2 weeks of the 10 days, but 5 of these days has got to be taken by the 1st of October. And after what would that be? After the 1st of October, you can only take 5 days. So if you want to take 10 days, you've got to either take the 10 days before the 1st of October or only 5 days after the 1st of October. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And what we've also got agreement is that no 5 days can be consecutive. So you can't take 2 weeks off at once. You must have a 5-day gap between these periods. And carrying forward, what we've said is, can carry forward as many days as they want. So if they don't take any days between now and Christmas, they can carry as many of them forward. But they must be taken over the next 2 years, but not all next year. So what we said is split it down the middle. So you carry forward 10 days, you're going to take 5 in 2021 and 5 in 2022. And I haven't had a single peep from anybody. They've all been actually, I mean, I'm talking about 50 odd guys. They've all come back and said, yeah, that makes sense. You know, quite happy with that. Of course, you got the odd one that originally wanted us to buy the holidays off them, but I mean, that would cost thousands of pounds if you offered it to everybody. So this I think seems to, it's roughly in line with the legislation, and it just needed a wee bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
And having looked at it, I can't think of, from our situation, I can't think of a better way of doing it.
No, I agree. I did think a 2-year spread, that's, you would never notice it over 2 years.
Yeah. The reason we put the 1st of October in is because what you can imagine now is lots of foreign holidays. People will hold off and hold off and hold off, thinking that the foreign holiday market's going to open up, flights are going to start happening. So if you allow them to take the full 10 days between now and Christmas, you could end up with literally all your workforce off for 2 weeks in November.
Yeah.
Which just be, you know, crucify you. So we put that 1st of October thing in to try and further spread it out.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I'll work along that, you know.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting approach. What I would also say is you're quite right about buying back the holidays. It's no longer permissible to be paying someone instead of offering them the holidays that they've accrued. So you're dead right there, Stephen. What I would also say is it would be essential that when you're varying the terms and conditions of someone's employment in that way, to get their written agreement for it. So
yeah, we put a document out with that and asked them all to agree to it. Yeah.
Fantastic. So for yourself, Robbie, if you're thinking along the same lines, just like Stephen's done, to get written agreement from each person for that change.
No, that's good. That makes more sense to do. And I mean, they'll be happy with that as long as they're getting their holidays. You know, because they're going to be wondering whether they're going to get the full holiday entitlement, and I wouldn't give them an answer if I got some information. You know, so yeah, no, fine, excellent.